I absolutely love this trade for the Los Angeles Lakers. Look, they give up a good chunk for Mark Williams, but Mark Williams feels like the type of piece that could put this team over the top as a real championship favorite. Fills the need that they have for an elite level big man. And is he an elite player right now? I don't know. Does he have the potential to be one? Absolutely. And I think his fit next to Luka Doncic is superb. I think he helps to stabilize a defense that now does have some concerns after obviously losing Anthony Davis. And this makes this trade deadline pretty much the best trade deadline for any team ever, at least in my opinion. Like, it's right up there anyway. When you can add Luka Doncic to your roster without giving up the type of haul that a Luka Doncic deserves, that obviously, I mean, that's probably on paper the most lopsided trade in the history of the sport, at least from the day that it happened. Obviously, there have been other trades that have worked out. For example, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Paul George trade that got the Thunder, SGA, and J-Dub and a ton of other assets for a Paul George who never won anything with the Clippers. Like, in hindsight, that was the horrible, awful trade. But as of right now, the Luka trade, day it happens, is like, that's a horrible trade. And then, yes, they gave up a lot. Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a first-round pick, unprotected, and a pick swap. But they get the player in Mark Williams who helps to, I think, raise the ceiling of the defense and fits Luka Doncic perfectly. And look, there's a Charlotte effect with players who come out of Charlotte. It happened with PJ Washington, who went to Dallas actually last season and started playing the best defense of his career, really inspired basketball. Mark Williams has been awesome this season. I really think he's a super high-level player. And if he can stay healthy, with a guy like Luka Doncic as his point guard, I mean, good luck. Like, this NBA, this team is not just a title contender at this point. I think they're right up there with the favorites, at least on paper, if healthy. I think this is a team that could absolutely contend with an Oklahoma City or a Boston or a Cleveland or a team like that. They might not be the favorites, but they are certainly in that top tier of contenders to me. And this is another awesome trade. Look, giving up Connect hurts. He's shown a lot of promise as a rookie, absolutely elite level shooter, microwave level player. And I think his development and watching him play next to a guy like Luka, and guys like Luka and LeBron are going to find him, would have been awesome. But the honest truth is the Lakers didn't really need him. The addition of Luka without losing, I mean, they lost Max Christie, but without losing that shot-creating, shot-making guard means you have Luka, Austin Reeves, two really high-level guards. LeBron, who plays a role as a player that very few players in the history of the sport have played, as a playmaker, offensive, primary ball handler, and just the versatility that he has as a player, even in his age 40 season. And it leads to a roster that, look, maybe they have a little bit of guard depth issues, slightly. If injuries, you could say that. But Gabe Vincent, legitimate, I think, backup point guard capable option. Defensively, he's going to be good. He shot the ball better as of late. I believe in him. I think Shake Milton, if need be, can be a contributor as well off the bench. I actually do think that he is a capable enough contributor as well. And you look at the team, you have Luka, Reeves, LeBron. So you have plenty of shot creation. Even if one of those guys is out, you're going to be fine in terms of shot creation and scoring ability. And on the wings, you have your Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, players like that that are super capable. The concern was that center position. Maxi Kleber has not played well this season and is likely out for most, if not all, the rest of the season. Do we trust a guy like a Trey Jemison? No, we don't. Christian Wood, no guarantees he comes back to playing high-level basketball. And so that basically left you with Jackson Hayes. And now adding Mark Williams to the picture, a dude who's had a really, really impressive third season for the Hornets, has been playing great as of late, especially. Has like one of the biggest standing reaches in the entire league. Just a freak athlete with a giant wingspan who is an absolutely great player. I mean, his stats, I really think, are a little bit underwhelming compared to the player he has the capability to be. And he's averaging 15.5 points a game, 9.5 rebounds a game. His stats might not go up a ton in Los Angeles just because of playing next to the amount of offensive firepower that he is in LeBron, Reeves, and Luka. But his defense, his size, his physicality, his rebounding, all those things are going to be incredibly valuable assets for this team. Not to mention, look, the efficiency's down a little bit this season. He's had the biggest offensive role he's ever had. His job is going to get so much easier with the amount of elite level shot creation that he's playing with an LA versus a Charlotte team that, number one, isn't competing for anything, and number two, hasn't had LaMelo Ball for big chunks of the season, hasn't had Brandon Miller for the last couple months. Like, they don't have a ton of shot creation in the first place, and the main shot creating key offensive weapons have been injured for large portions of the season. And so I think he's going to go back to being a 65% from the field type of guy, elite lob threat, incredible length, high level rebounder and defender, and he's only playing 25 minutes a game, averaging almost a double-double. Like, he could easily be a 30-minute a game, 16 points, 12 rebounds, and a block a game, even close to 2 blocks a game, because I think his defensive impact is going to raise in LA. Again, playing for a team with more aspirations, It worked for PJ Washington and it's worked for other players. When you go from a market where you don't have any expectations to really try to compete for anything, and on a night-to-night basis, it just doesn't matter that much. It's easy to take a night off and it's easy to not lock in and play at a super high level defensively. That's not the case for a contending team like the Lakers. And so I do think Mark Williams is going to lock in. I think you're going to see him elevate his game on both ends of the court. I think things are going to be easier for him offensively, and I think he's going to have more incentive to be locked in on the defensive end of the court. And he's the type of guy who can really come in and be super impactful in maintaining a top 10 defense in basketball, and with an offense that is going to be terrifying. One of the, I would assume, top 2 or 3 offenses in the league for the rest of the season. A top 10 defense will make them an absolute contender, and I think with the addition of Dorian Finney-Smith, with the health now of a Jared Vanderbilt, with the addition of a Mark Williams, that solidifies a defense that has already been playing great basketball recently. And then you bring in Luka to add on to the offense. Yes, losing Anthony Davis hurts, but there is not an offensive player in the sport who's quite as impactful as Luka besides one man, Nikola Jokic. That's it. I think Luka is the second best overall offensive player in the sport. It is hard to argue that this team is not a serious contender at this point. I think they absolutely won the trade deadline. The Dorian Finney-Smith deal was awesome, even though that was, a little bit ago now. It's still an amazing deal. The Luka deal was one of the best deals we've ever seen. And then this Mark Williams deal. Losing Connect hurts, but Cam Reddish wasn't in the rotation. The picks matter, but for a team with a 40-year-old LeBron that's trying to compete now, it's okay. And look, at the end of the day, they're going to be good for a long time because they have Luka Doncic. And if they can re-sign him, they're going to be good into the 2030s because of players wanting to play with Luka and because of him being that transcendent elite talent. And so I love this deal for the Lakers, and I think it makes them really, really good. Now, on the side of the Hornets, I know people don't talk about them as much. They're not obviously the market that the Lakers are, but I don't mind this trade for them either. Now, here's the honest truth about that team. They don't have a big man right now, and they don't have a great core in general. Besides LaMelo and Brandon Miller, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of young talent to be excited about. Now, Mark Williams was kind of that guy, but Connect is an interesting addition. That's another valuable pick that they get. They added a first-round pick in the Nurkic deal, which happened today as well, which I'm obviously not going to make a video dedicated to itself, but they're adding multiple picks. They're adding some young talent. Connect could be a real contributor, and if they can find another big, maybe a Common Malawatch from this year's draft, or somebody else in the next year or two, this is a team that maybe can start to build a core. Miles Bridges is tradable. They got some guys who I think they could trade, some pieces they can move, some flexibility to hopefully, if guys can start to get healthy and start to work together. Look, the future feels bleak for Charlotte still, but it's impressive how quickly things can change if you get the right pieces in place. And look, this year's another wasted year, but maybe next year will be better. We'll have to wait and see. And I don't hate the trade for Charlotte either, especially with the injury concerns of Mark Williams. I think this is a trade that absolutely could be beneficial for both sides, in all honesty. It makes the Lakers serious contenders now, and I think it gives the Hornets a little more flexibility and a little more to work with here building towards the future as well. So with that being said, that's going to do it for the video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.